Yeah. Go.
All right, our next presentation is regarding the automated commercial environment, more commonly referred to as ACE. And this is who we don't want to be. Okay? If you like that, then you're gonna be like these guys, left at the train station. So, not good. Hey, Ace, it's the place. Yeah, something like that, yeah. Gee, I can't believe it's been 4 years now since we started getting messages like this from the Census Bureau. And you know, I didn't completely understand it myself when I started getting it, but you know, the more I delved into it, you know, the more I understood it. Explaining what forthcoming changes that the Census Bureau had planned for AES. And here's a message here we got from a Susan Bicknell, appliance manager at Allegro Microsystems, to the mighty Patty Egan in our Boston office, who got the same message that I just showed you there. So do you know anything about this? Does this mean AES will be replaced by ACE, or that you have to have access to ACE to get to AES? So, I mean, I guess we can do translation service. That's okay. I mean, whatever it takes, right, to keep our customers happy. So, if she had taken the time to look on the customs websites and the census website, she would have understood what that message was talking about. ACE is the internet-based system through which carriers, brokers, forwarders, importers, and exporters conduct business with U.S. Customs and other federal government agencies involved with international trade. It's commonly referred to as the single window used to exchange shipment data electronically with U.S. Customs and other government agencies. It was initially conceived way back in May of 2002 to allow importers and brokers to see their customs data via the internet. Prior to April of 2014, ACE and AES were separate systems. To achieve the concept of the single window, ACE and AES were combined. ACE did not replace AES. In April 2014, AES became a part of ACE. The legacy version of AES Direct was decommissioned in May of 2016. And new, what the Census Bureau calls is the refactored version of AES Direct, began operating within ACE at that time. ACE electronically links U.S. Customs with other federal government agencies involved in international trade, and other members of the international trade community: forwarders, brokers, truckers, importers, exporters, airlines, steamship lines, whoever's involved with international trade. ACE expedites the transaction processing of international trade, streamlines business processes, reduces and eliminates manual processes, and fosters collaboration between government and industry. promotes information sharing among multiple government agencies. It's easier for industry to comply with regulations. It has eliminated the requirement to submit the paper forms of these State Department licenses here, the DSP 5, the 61, and the 73. And it's supposed to have eliminated the requirement to submit the DEA permit, but I know Chicago still wants to see it. And I've tried to inquire about that, I haven't really gotten a good answer. So I mean, I would just keep doing what they want, you know, so don't argue with them. But that's not what the regulations say. ACE is still a work in progress, over 3 years behind schedule. Last deadline for completion was December of 2016. And it's more than $1 million over budget. So,
must be a government project.
What else is going on? More than 10 government agencies are using it for exports. ACE is the place for you. Remember that. Why do you need ACE? Well, there's a lot of reasons you need ACE. And let's begin by counting them down. It's a backup for filing EEI and AES via UFS. As we, some of us saw yesterday, I know you were here, so maybe you weren't able to check your email, but, well, I had another problem with AES internally. The service that we use through UFS, it wasn't working for a while. So we had to get that corrected. But as an alternative, if we don't have that available to us, we can use ACE, AES Direct. And I had sent out a message yesterday similar to this. This one I had sent out a couple years ago, but you know, I have this in my archives here, ready to go whenever we need it. Now, after I had sent this out, I got a question from one of our employees in our Austin, Texas office, Silaway Mondragon, who no longer is with us, as some of you may know, so it's okay to talk about it. We have an urgent shipment that we need to get to the airport now. Can we show AES down for the time being, just for acceptance purposes?
No.
Why not?
Because that's our system, not the government. It's not ACE.
That's right. Very good.
Only if ACE is down, you can do that.
That's correct.
You are our first
I want to get
No, this is what I said. No, you have two choices. Use AES Direct or else you hold the ship until you can get an ITN through UFS. That's it. And if you had taken the time to read my original message, I would have said that use AES Direct. If AES Direct wasn't available, I would not have said that. Read the message. Okay, just as a review here, AES down, the downtime policy to be used only when ACE or AES Direct is not available. How do we know there's a downtime policy? Well, we just get an email from the Census Bureau. That's it. And I think we get one too from Customs. Similar type message regarding ACE. That's it. I mean, that's how we know. And so if no email, then it doesn't happen. It doesn't exist. Cannot be used for items on the United States munitions list, meaning anything that is regulated by the State Department license, exemption, agreement. If you're sending out something that's regulated by the State Department, you're gonna have to hold it until AES is working and you can get an ITM. And this is what an email looks like from the Census Bureau. They say that this is the downtime on policy will be working at this time. Okay, second reason we need ACE. We must use it for shipments authorized by the U.S. State Department, as I just said. Now this is Appendix F, which I hope some of you are familiar with. If not, you should be. But you'll notice here, if you're reporting anything in AES that is controlled by the State Department, you are to use a license code that begins with the letter S. And they try to make that logical. State Department, S. So they made the codes line up with the government agency that regulates those products. Now, this is the drop-down list here for the license codes in UFS, and if you've ever taken the time to notice, you'll see you don't see any of those S license codes in UFS. They're not there. So that means you can't use UFS to report items controlled by the State Department. Can't do it. It's only in AES Direct.
Any reason why, out of curiosity?
Why? Well, yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean.
No, I mean, it's perfectly a legitimate question. There was a decision made in our company some years ago that we simply did not want to include that in UFS. And it was a decision made based on development costs primarily. They just didn't think it was justified. That was it. And me personally, I was not, I did not agree with that decision, but I was overruled, so, and that's all I'll say. Okay. And for those of you who don't know where Appendix is, well, I'll tell you. It's on that maze of the internet that we have here. Go from the home page, operations, and then automated export system here. And that's where you'll see it among all the other appendices that, I don't know, I think it's collaboration between Customs and Census who writes and publishes those appendices. Right. The third reason you need ACE. Our customers are using it and watching you. Whoa. This may look familiar to some of us.
You made it.
You made it in lights. Okay, a message I got from the one vivacious Jennifer Baldwin some years ago.
I have no idea who that is. My last name is Bowman.
They had pulled an EEI report from ACE for the customer Unilever and found that Elizabeth Arden was showing as the US PPI. Apparently Unilever at one time owned Elizabeth Arden, but the EIN number changed and was never updated. So, well, I mean, I guess nobody ever told us, or if they did, then we didn't take any action. I mean, I don't know what happened, but we were using the wrong EIN for one of our customers here. And then, actually, this was a similar message we got about the same subject, directly from C.H. Powell, who I guess is the broker of Elizabeth Arden. Yeah, our Unilever, yeah. They were auditing their EEI filings, and they identified a substantial number of filings done by Kitetsu showing Elizabeth Arden as the US PBI, but were filed with Unilever's EIN.
20 years ago.
20 years.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's,
Wow.
well, that was not exactly one of our shining moments there. So, make us look too good. And then, you know, it's that we didn't notice, I mean, we had to have the customer bring that to our attention. So, so that's not good. Okay. So here is just a snapshot of the report that they ran in ACE for the filings questionnaire, showing the EIN and the name of Elizabeth Arden. And for a 5-year period there, 103 records were filed in AES with the wrong EIN. Now, this is a snapshot of the SOI. It's actually a copy of an old the SED form that I showed you yesterday.
Yeah, they
But,
submit.
yeah, but still people use it as an SOI, which, you know, it's okay. I mean, as long as they understand, and we understand what it's for. So this is what they gave us for one of those shipments there in question. And, well, as you see there, they display the EIN. Correct EIN was on the SOI, but we used the wrong one in AES. So, among the over 100 filings that we did, somebody, I don't know who it was, in your office there, saw the EIN on the SOI, and so they updated. But 1 out of 104 was filed with correct EIN. Yeah, we did it again. I'm sorry to say. This time, Chicago. For AAR Corporation. I have a concern on AES filings. You are not using an AAR EIN. We are not, that number we're that number there. I'm attempting to reconcile my export license, and I have not visibility in ACE because you are using the wrong EIN. And as we talked yesterday, the licenses issued by the BIS are decremented in AES. So if we're not using the right EIN, then that's going to complicate the record-keeping process in ACE. AES. So that's not good. And, you know, we understand that, you know, I think you understand too, that in the customer profile of UFS, there's a place to enter the EIN of the customer. And, you know, we enter that based on the information that we get from you or you know, other people in our company who were involved with setting up new customers. I mean, we'd like to get some validation with that. Like, ideally, we get you know, W-9 form or at least email from the customer that says, "Here's my EIN," or a POA, written authorization. You know, we have a place for the EIN on there. That way, it uniquely identifies that entity with that number. You know, to try to avoid these types of things from happening. But I mean, if this number is wrong, then, you know, we don't know it. I mean, all we know is what you or somebody else tells us. And I hate to say it, but sometimes even the customer's wrong. They don't know their EIN. I've run across that. So let me just emphasize that, you know, if you see a discrepancy between what is in UFS and then what is on the documentation that you got from your customer, well, then question it. You know, say, something's not right here. So, you know, just probe a little further to make sure that we have it right. And then if it's not right, then tell us. Open a ticket and say, I found out today that the EIN for this customer is wrong. Please update it in UFS, and then be sure to give us the documentation that you got from the customer. Or whatever that is, email or, you know, their W-9 form or whatever. So whoever many customers who may be watching us in ACE, there may be the same number who are not watching us. Case in point, Brenda Card from Corning. Talked about Corning yesterday. Got an inquiry from them looking for 2 filings that she thought that we did for Discovery Labware. That was one of their subsidiaries that they purchased some years ago. They wanted to know if we did it. I think K2B does most of their filings, and then here's the EIN she gives, and then, you know, here's the ITN. So, let me know if you have any questions. Well, you've read I have a question for you. Why aren't you using ACE instead of running hither and yon and looking for a needle in a haystack here? Use the reports that are in ACE. USPPI report, AES 202, and if this was a routed export transaction, you go to AES 203 report. And you can find it there. And let us not forget that aside from our customers, there is someone else who is watching what we do in AES. And what may I be watching? Well, a lot of things. Checking for the wrong EIN, wrong license code, wrong port of export, missing intermediate consignee, missing routed export transaction indicator. We talked at length about that yesterday. And missing related parties indicator. A lot of people miss that one. The parties seem to be related. It's not really necessary that you pull company reports to determine if the shipper and consignee are related, but I would say if the names are somehow similar, you can probably assume that the companies are related. And if there's a question, we'll just ask the shipper. Okay, got this message earlier this year from one Paul Daly in our Boston office, asking me to take a look at a filing that he did in ACE. It was rejected, and he didn't quite understand the error message. So he asked me to take a look at it. So I did. And this is what I saw in ACE. I saw this part here. This was entered by Sean Block in February, about the same dates as the message here that Paul Daly sent. And you notice it was Paul Daly who was sending the message, not Sean Block. Well, then at that point, I seem to recall having a conversation with Patty Egan, who's the indomitable employee there in the Boston office. And it was just something like a few weeks prior to this, and it was just kind of in passing. But I seem to recall that she was saying that Sean Block no longer worked there. So I did a little investigating, and I saw on UFS that his employee profile had been terminated in December 2018. So well, naturally, I had to ask the question, Paul, why are you using the ID of someone who no longer works for our fine company? Well, I didn't get a response, but I think I made my point. So, you know, please don't do this. I mean, I don't think I have to explain to you why, but you know, if you need an ID, you know, just send me an email. The person who needs the ID should send me the email directly. Like, I know if you just got a new person in your office and you're sending the email on their behalf, I mean, I understand that, but just to minimize the chances of fraud and, you know, increase security, if we could just have the person who wants the ID to send me the email directly, and then I can assign them. I mean, it's free, it doesn't cost anything. And then we can try to eliminate things like this. Not only is it illegal, it's dumb. So, we don't want to do this kind of stuff. Okay, the fourth reason we need ACE is to validate tariff numbers that we receive from our customers. Okay, here's case in point from the message we got here from the incomparable Mio Cook from our office in San Francisco. And he faces a problem here that probably many of you have encountered from some of your customers. She got a tariff number from the customer, and she's saying it's invalid, doesn't work. AES is rejecting it. So can you give me another one? Or she's asking, you know, well, can I use another one instead? You know? And the customer says, no, the one I gave you is good. Use it. So, well, she comes to me and says, you know, I'm trying to use this tariff number that the customer gave me, but it's not working. And she insists that it's valid. But I'm trying it and it's not working. So, so what do I do? You know, I don't know if this has ever happened to you. So, so how do you get off this merry-go-round? Well, ACE to the rescue. Okay, you simply type in that number that you got that's in question in AES Direct. If you find it, it's valid. If you don't find it, it's no good. I mean, it's that simple. And that shuts it down right there. No arguments. Okay, as talked a little about previously, if you need an account at ACE, just send an email to one of these email addresses here. Contact me directly or just open a ticket, however you want to handle it. Okay, if you'll recall, if you have an account in ACE, I ask you for your date of birth. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to pry into your personal life here, but you see here, it's asked for the date of birth. So I can't just put in garbage information. I have to put in real information. So that's why I'm asking for your date of birth. So please understand, just following rules. You need to log into your ACE account at least once every 45 days to keep it active. And you are required to change your password every 90 days. Okay, this may be a picture of one of your colleagues who is puzzled by something that he has encountered in ACE. And what may that be? Well, Let's see here. Received a link to retrieve a password, but it requires me to enter my shared secret value. I'm guessing it is not a 0 because 0 did not work. Would you please tell me my shared secret value? It's asking for a shared secret. I don't have notes on that being one of the questions.
You'll have to give this back now. But it's my note now.
That's good.
It's
We're
written
making
down.
progress here, right? Okay, he makes his name up here. Okay, asking for a secret value. I have no clue. Okay, all right. Trying to do this Ace new account and needs the super secret value. Do you have it?
Super secret, wow.
And Penny Egan check screening with us again. What is my shared secret? We all have the same secret. They really like to make it difficult. They do, and they succeeded by making it difficult. They sure did. So, I ask you, those of you who have an account in Ace should be able to say, what is the shared secret in Ace? I ask you.
Your user ID?
You were close. You were close.
I haven't used it in a while.
Yes.
That's why we're all like, why don't you just ask for a user ID? Why do you have to change the word?
Ask the government. I mean, I don't know, they said it, but they, like Pat Egan says, they did a good job of making it difficult.
Same way with the password. Ridiculous.
Yeah, right.
It was say you can't use a complete word. I'm like, I didn't even put a complete word in there. Where do you, unless it's gibberish complete. I mean, it's crazy.
Hidden secrets. The account ID, and user ID are the one and the same. Okay, so every time I create a new account for somebody in Ace, I give them this information twice in my message. So I may have it in the ticket here. So you are without excuse.
Secret is not a secret.
Yes, right. Okay, be sure to turn off your pop-up blocker on whatever browser you use, because that may affect the functions in Ace. All right, pass-through rules. When you set the password, it'll tell you all this stuff. So, more password rules. Just make sure you comply. Okay, if your account becomes dormant or disabled, send me an email or send it to one of these other addresses. Okay, like on the weekend, or we're not available, or you're working late at night, like on the West Coast, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Seattle, they work into the night, and I'm sleeping, so I mean I gotta sleep sometime, so I can't respond to this, but I mean there's people there available who can help you. If you need to reset your password. So, I mean, they're there all the time. So call them or just send them an email and they'll help you. Okay, we got this message here from Sean Chan in attendance with us a couple weeks getting back, asking to reset his password for AES Direct. Okay, just play along with us here, okay? Just play along. But tell me, everybody looking at that message, Sean knows the answer, but everybody except Sean, there's something wrong in that picture. Tell me what it is.
Give his password. Give his password. Is that his password?
No.
This is
Username.
They're not his initials. Don't have to be the initials. And the first two letters aren't his initials.
That's right. You are correct.
Very good, very good.
Okay.
So I saw that and I said, what is this? Why is he asking to reset the password for someone else's account? I mean, no. So, your response?
Yes. Oh,
Yeah, this is when you are to respond. You provide your response.
yeah, back when, back in the old days, like maybe 6-7 years ago when we didn't know about it.
This
I
is
worked
this
with
year.
Kaz, Kaz like, hey, use this. Alright, sure, okay. We did it, and after a while, we got a message from you, do not do that again. Like, oh, okay. And now it's saved in my system for some reason. I should have looked at it, like KS or SC or whatever. It has 2 names. So I chose the wrong one and sent an email to you.
Alright, so you clear that out.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So these are confidential, I think you understand. And not only is it confidential, but it's a violation of Kintetsu's IT security policy to use someone else's ID for some system that we're using, UFS, email, whatever. So, be careful what you're doing. And I think I know how this happened. I'm not gonna say, but, well, it shouldn't have happened.
Right.
That's all I can say. Maybe I'll be able to say more later. I mean, you never should have got that
No,
to begin with.
no, I shouldn't.
No. Like I said, it's free, it doesn't cost anything, so
Of course.
I can pass them out, All right, now, if you forget your password, it didn't, your account didn't lock up or get dormant, if you forget it, you can just click that link there, you can handle that yourself, alright? Okay, here's a message we got from the former employee of Kintetsu Chicago Sea Freight office, not with us anymore. Asking me about ACE, what's going on, it's acting weird, it can't do things that she wants to do, asking me if I know what's happening. Well, no, I don't. I mean, I don't run ACE. That's the government system. So, but what you can do instead of asking me, is you can get updates directly from Customs. Go to the Customs website, and you'll see there a link. It says Get Email Updates. Put your email address in there. Submit. Totally free. Doesn't cost anything. And then you can get messages from the Cargo Systems Messaging Service run by U.S. Customs. And then you'll get messages like this. Talking about, here it tells you what's going on with ACE, AES Direct. There's some problem. So, I mean, the information's out there, you just gotta know where to go get it. ACE reports, I know there's people in Chicago who supposedly are running ACE reports. At least that's what they tell me. But that's where you go, you log in, and then click the link for reports, hit another button, launch reports, and then you're going to go to this place here and select either exporter, create automatic report, click on exporter. Filer, we're a filer. We're not the USPPI. As we discussed yesterday, there's only 2 cases where we can be a USPPI. And I don't know if I want to ask if anybody can tell me what those 2 cases are. Do what? Can anybody answer that question? Or maybe we'll just keep going. Okay. Okay, well, we're defining, all right? So more than likely, we're not gonna be the USPPI, so you hit filing. Just punch in the, report, criteria there. Enter a date range, and then you'll get something, that looks like this. And we have a wealth of resources on that, maze we call, intranet. About ACE, AES Direct. There it is on our export compliance program. I have some videos that the Census Bureau published on how to use AES Direct. Very good, I looked at them, very informative. They've gotten better. I mean, they didn't have a lot when they first moved AES into ACE, but they're getting more out there, so that's good. I have this other instruction manual out there, how to use reports in ACE. And that is it. So do not forget, ACE